Ladies and gentlemen, bonjour and welcome to À la table ronde, the political show of TVC 22. As you all know, we are in the middle of the municipal campaign, municipal election for 2018. And today I have the pleasure of presenting you Monsieur Yannick Villeneuve, one of the candidates in Ward number 1. Bonjour Yannick.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing?
Very good.
Good. You're a very young man.
Yes.
You've had some experience in politics, maybe a whole lot for a man your age. And you've got some degrees, university degree, and probably a few others. You've been involved in business, really, and you've done a lot of campaigns. So I think the people in Ward 1 and Clarence-Rockland would like to know who Yanick Villeneuve is.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a young professional. I'm 24 years old. I work in the financial industry for the past 5 years now. During that time, I also worked on my bachelor's degree in poli-sci and history. So I've graduated from Ottawa U in 2018 in that. But before that, I've been a resident of Rockland for my entire life. I've always participated in activities, either ball, hockey, soccer, everything that was put on by the city. I've lived here, and apart from that, I've always been implicated. I've done a lot of volunteer work. Most notably for the last 2 years, I've been on the board of directors for the Club Optimiste. So it's a charitable organization that does a lot of work for the youth in our community. Most notably, the lobster dinner, and then we give a lot of money to schools for programs and stuff.
And the water park right here.
Yeah, exactly. Water park, and the we've also been working for the ice rinks throughout the city for places where kids can get changed and it's warm. It's not cold outside. Yeah, so it's definitely something that's always been close to heart, working for the community, and a seat on the municipal council for me was always the easiest way to get involved.
Okay, and I believe you told me you did a lot of work for different campaigns.
Yeah, so I'm 24, but I have nearly a decade of experience, either municipal, provincial, and federal campaigns for different parties throughout Ontario and Quebec. Most notably, I did a year working for a candidate for a leadership election at Parliament during 2016-2017, which gave me a lot of experience in both communications and just working with a lot of different people who have different opinions. So that was it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
And you work for the leadership campaign for one of the candidates for the Conservative Party of Canada.
Yeah, exactly. So I worked. He didn't win, unfortunately, but it was a great campaign. I got to meet people from Toronto and everywhere.
There were like 16 people.
There were 16 people, but we went to the last two. I was disappointed to see us lose, but it inspired me to run for myself. I've been doing it for I say nearly a decade for other people. This is the first time that I see my own name on my signs, on my handouts, so it's encouraging.
It's encouraging.
Yeah. And
I believe you did work for La Guignolée for several years.
Yeah. So as I say, I've been very implicated with the community. I've been we call it the Grande Guignolée, but it's a food drive for the food bank in Clarence-Rockland for many years. So I've been out of high school for a few years now, and I started, I think, my first year of high school. So it's going on a decade as well for that. And it's always been in Ward 1. They send us there because I've lived there forever. I know a lot of people. So no, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Were you involved in things in high school, like some type of clubs or whatever when you were there? Or was that still politically directed? So
during high school, I've always had the inclination for politics. So even during high school, I was doing campaigning, most notably in the 2010 campaigns and 2011 for the federal campaigns. So I've always done there. But in school, it was a lot less, It was something I did. I learned a lot of stuff that I would use later on, most notably videos and Photoshop and all that. I learned through my school, through work in my classes. Okay. But in terms of implication there, it was a lot outside of school.
Okay. So why do you want to be on the seat of the municipal council? Why do you want to represent us, the citizens of Clarence Rockland and mainly the citizen of Ward 1?
Yeah, donc, so it's a place I've lived forever. We've had great representatives throughout the years, and I think that I can fill their shoes. I have a great baggage in finance, in politics, in policy, through work and also my education. I think I have a lot to bring to the city. Most notably in terms of working with the county and working with the province, working with federal for grants and such, so that we can really expand Clarence Rockland, so we can have a vision for not just in my 4 years, but hopefully next 20 years.
Okay. Well, you're looking.
Well, yeah, no,
far
for
down the
sure.
line.
It's not personal finance, right?
No.
It's a city. A city needs to know what it's doing. If not, we're just going to get lost. If we work 4 years at a time, it's like I get young people in my office a lot of the time. They want to buy a house. Well, a house is not a 6-month investment.
No.
You're buying a house for the next 20, 25 years, hopefully, yeah, with everything. So the city needs to look at projects in the same way. I'm going to be there for 4 years, hopefully, and I look at the marina, and that's nice, but how much can I really do in 4 years? I hope that I start a project that plants its seeds in the community, and people see it. If I lose in in 8 years, or in 4 years if I lose, I want the person who replaces me to see my work as something that needs to be continued.
Okay.
Yeah. So 20 years, 10, 20 years.
Okay. Candidates, when they decide they want to run, they look in their ward, and they look, or at higher levels, they look at bigger areas, and they say, what are the needs? And therefore, what needs have you identified in Ward 1 that requires the attention of the councillor and of council?
Yeah, so definitely. So living there for a long time, having a lot of friends who lived in the ward, definitely roads. So it's a promise that's often given at the municipal level, but we've seen it this year. They've done a few roads in our ward, and it's helped a lot. I notice it just for my commute for lunch every day. I see that it helps a lot. Further than that, it's a lot of young families in my ward. There's no old folks' homes or anything. So people, either they work in Rockland or they work in town. So it's people that need to be in their car, and have a better experience on day to day.
Okay. And what else, other than roads, are the needs of that ward?
Yeah, so definitely. We talk a lot about taxes, which is, it's a hot topic because everybody talks about them. And so a lot of times we don't really have solutions for taxes. I don't pretend to be some kind of guru, but if we look at other cities that have comparable populations, if they have lower taxes, it's because they have more businesses. And to encourage business, I think it starts at municipal council. It's very nice that provinces and federal can say, oh, we're bringing business back to Ontario, but it works at the municipal level. So I think by being a council that's very open to business, we can work to lower taxes and not even lower taxes, but just lower the burden on everyday folk in Rockland.
Okay. And how do you think council should be approaching that subject?
Yeah.
What should be in place in order to let businesses know that we're open for business?
Yeah, definitely. So it's always like, tax exemptions that we'll talk. But for us, it's going to be working with the province and working with the counties just to see what we can do for grants and such there, so that we can find these businesses and bring them to Rockland. We have Amazon that's opening in Glengarry, Prescott Russell, a distribution center. Why isn't that in Rockland? No. And it's 600 jobs that could have been here, and it's people. It's stress we're taking off of the highway. So it would have helped everybody, but we're not getting it.
We're not getting it. It's going to Ottawa. Oh, c'est la vie. But maybe the road situation being what it is, they wouldn't have come here anyway.
No, exactly.
But who knows?
Yeah.
When Ottawa saw they were not in the race, they said, what other opportunities are there? So they had someone that went and knocked at the door. How do you see your role as councillor in relations to the rest of the council and in relationship with the citizens you represent? How do you see your role as a councillor?
Yeah, so definitely being a student of politics at the University of Ottawa, it's something that I see as being a direct representative of the people who elected me. So I'm their voice on the council. There's only 8 people plus the mayor. So really what you say it carries weight when you're working for council. So definitely I see it as not an extension of myself, but an extension of the people who voted for me, the people I represent in my county. In terms of relations with the other councillors, it's extremely important. I demonstrated it with teaming up with another candidate in a ward, that I'm ready to work with people who are like-minded, and even people who aren't like-minded, because there's certainly people that I'll always butt heads with because they have different opinions, but we work for the people of Rockland. It's not a place to let egos gain the advantage there.
Yeah.
We need to work.
So you've teamed up with someone else who's in the campaign presently.
Yeah.
So why did you team up together? What are the points that you share with this person?
Yeah, definitely. So we both work in the financial sector. So we have great ideas in terms of Rockland. We talk a lot about the marina and just big projects that Rockland could get into. Most notably bike paths and the marina, as I said. In terms of why would we team up? Just because we're two young people, we're both dynamic, we're both young professionals, and we think we have a lot to bring to the city. It's certain that in both of our wards, there's 3 people, and it's all people who bring very different experiences to the council if we were elected. So we think that being together, we can show ourselves as being ready to take the job.
Okay. As you know, you cannot form
Yes.
a party in Ontario.
Yeah.
So how can people be assured that you have not infringed
Yeah, no,
any
definitely.
rules?
So when we're going to be submitting our financial reports at the end of the year, you'll see that everything's it's all separate. We didn't buy any signs together or anything. We're just working together because it's a lot easier. Me and Marc-André, we have complementary baggages. Me in political science and Marc-André in marketing. So it was a good fit for us to work together. And again, politics is a team sport. So we want to show that we have our jerseys on, we're ready to play.
I can see the elbow swinging. Okay. Sorry, too easy. But other than those ideas together, what kind of, well, maybe I'm asking you to divulge strategy, so I will not go there. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that. We spoke about the priorities you have for your ward.
Mm-hmm.
What priorities do you see for the municipality?
Yeah, so in terms of being vague, we've talked about taxes. I think that's a big priority, especially going forward. If we want to be a city that's competitive for people who work in Ottawa, or even people who want to work, who want to live just outside of Ottawa, it's something that's very important. So for me, it's businesses. So if we talk about businesses, it's bringing them here, sometimes lowering taxes, and even if we lower a bit of taxes for the businesses, they're still paying a very fair share, so it can help everybody else. Then if we talk about...
And that can be for a period of time.
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. It's something that's done quite frequently in municipalities or in provinces. When they get here, it's like a welcome rate for new business.
Right.
Afterwards, definitely, a big priority of mine is the seniors and the way we care for them. So there's new laws in Ontario for accessibility. It's something that I think our businesses should really look at. And again, I don't want to shift the blame onto them, so I want to work with them to get grants from the county, from the province, because the money is there. Right. So we need to make them available. And on top of that, if we're helping seniors, we're bringing them to Rockland, we can really make Rockland a great place for people who are assisted for mobility to live. And by working with our businesses, that's how we achieve it.
And we may be able to attract tourist business from that great
yeah, exactly,
age
definitely, because, well, not even tourists, just people who want to live here, right? Because we're a francophone community, mostly, and we're just outside of Ottawa. We're not even an hour and a half from Montreal. So I think that we have the potential to really grow through senior care.
Good, thank you. We need to take a little break. We are at that time, ladies and gentlemen. So please stay with us. We will be continuing our discussion with Yannick Villeneuve in a few moments. So Yannick, in municipalities, businesses, everyone talks about money. You've talked about money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, at times, the city will, they do their budget exercise beginning in the fall, ending early in the new year. Sometimes they're able to finish it before the year starts. But when a job starts, you discover things. It could be repairing a road, and all of a sudden they find that, the pipes for the sewers over here, they're busted, they need to be replaced, and they need to do it on a longer stretch, so hundreds of thousands of dollars need to be added to the budget. So these are uncontrollable things. Therefore, what is your view on municipal debts?
Yeah.
When is it acceptable? When is it unacceptable? When is it too much? And how do you control it?
Yeah, so definitely the use of budgets is obligatory, especially in this sense. It's something that I've lived professionally. You know, people, when they take a loan to build a house, they need to have set money aside for any impromptu costs. So definitely the city, they have cost accounts in case of any needs. But in terms of where we need to get our money, we can always do loans. The city usually does take out loans, and if they're for healthy debt, that means that that's bringing in capital, or that's for specific needs that they really benefit the community. Then it's a good financial leverage. So it's healthy debt. It's when the spending gets a bit out of control and we're buying anything and everything. That's when debt becomes unhealthy, especially for the city, because we need to have plans to pay back all the debt. It's as much as the interest rates can be low, you don't want to carry on a certain loan for 50 years because it'll be a completely different population by then, and you don't want them to be paying for what we did. So definitely debt can be healthy. It needs to be used in the correct circumstances, like roads. If it's something that absolutely needs to be fixed and is outside of our budgets for this year, it needs to be. We need to use financial leverage, and we need to work for it the following year in our budget.
In our budget, or depending on the amount, in maybe a few years.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Oh, definitely. More
if you're building, like when they build the pool, for example, the YMCA.
Exactly. No, definitely. We can amortize debts for a certain period of time. They need to be budgeted for.
Okay, good. And manage and reimburse in an adequate time.
Exactly.
And so that you have money when you do need to borrow again, or have leverage to borrow.
Yeah.
Okay. The cost of living goes up every year.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it. There's always something that will go up. Gasoline may go down one year, but it's going to bounce back up.
Yeah.
And tires and car parts and truck parts, you name it. So what is your opinion on tax increases annually?
Yeah, so tax increases, as you eloquently stated, it's something that's absolutely necessary to the development of our municipality. If we issue a tax freeze for the next 4 years, we might have a completely different council, and then they're stuck with what we did, and all of a sudden you have a 10% tax raise because we didn't have a healthy raise every year. We've talked about this, but in consumer price index is how much Canadians are ready to pay for their groceries every year, for their grocery cart. So I think that our taxes should definitely follow something like that, because it's a lot more representative of the common Canadian family than something like a gross domestic product or anything. So definitely we need to institute healthy raises every year, or if we don't want to raise, because it's obvious, he wants to raise taxes, we need to look at how we're spending our money. The only reason we do tax people is because we need to spend money and guarantee services for a community. So if we want to cut taxes, or if we want to freeze them, we need to look at how we're spending everybody's money.
Okay. And I think you've done a good explanation of how that can be done. So that's good. So at this moment, I would like to invite you to talk directly to the people of Ward 1 and of Clarence-Rockland, naturally.
Yeah. So definitely. So hi, I'm Yannick Villeneuve. I've worked in Rockland for over 10 years, and I've lived here for my entire life. It's a community that I've grown to love throughout the years. I've participated in numerous sports and a lot of volunteer work ever since before high school, primary school, everything. Every year I do the food bank, so you might have seen me if you live in my ward. It's usually where I go. Apart from that, I have nearly a decade of experience in politics through municipal, provincial, and federal campaigns. I've worked with everything from lobby groups to councils for different municipalities that we want to work with. I have a lot of experience. I may look young, and I'm 24, but I have the experience to back up everything I have the knowledge and the experience to back up what I can promise to the city through my bachelor's degree in political science and history. I've learned a lot for someone my age, definitely. And apart from that, you know, I'll be seeing everybody at least once, maybe twice, in Ward 1 throughout the campaign from here till October 22nd.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our interview with Yannick. However, voting day is October 22nd, but we can start voting, or we'll be able to vote electronically from the 17th to the 22nd. The last election, 4 years ago, only 43% of the citizens voted. Some people think that's acceptable. I find that very low. So I am encouraging all of you to encourage yourself, your friends, so that they do vote. It's important. Municipal government is the one that gives us the direct services that we need. They fix our roads, they take care of our parks, fire services, etc., etc., etc. It just goes on and on and on. And if you don't vote, as far as I'm concerned, you shouldn't be criticizing if they take decisions you don't like. So therefore, I do encourage you strongly to go out and vote for this municipal election. It would be great if we busted 65%. That's my challenge to you. So thank you. Have a nice day, and I say to you, à la prochaine.